Hi guys, and welcome to Dreaming in Fibre. I am your host Sarah from sarahstexturecrafts.com. Welcome to the show. It is coming up to the end of June. I want to say it's June the 24th. The crackling down there is Patch having a nose through the stuff I'm going to show you today. So I hope you're all well, and let's crack on with the show. I'm going to go straight into time and review. So I've written some show notes for myself today, so if I'm looking in that direction for any reason, it's because my show notes are over there and bits and pieces and things. So I'm hoping the light will be okay and you'll be able to see everything that I'm showing you today. It's beautiful weather outside, and of course that means there's a lot of shadow cast as I leave the curtains drawn, because it's a little bit too hot to keep them closed. So what have I been up to? I think the last time I spoke to you was just after Proper Woolly, and I showed you around the show and gave you a quick shop update when I got back. Since then, I think that was about 3 weeks ago. Since then, yeah, it's been a kind of a Jekyll and Hyde time really. It's either been insanely busy or so insanely quiet that I go slowly insane. I'm not very good at quiet moments. I always have to find something new to do, so you'll kind of see that because of that there's been a lot of production, and there's also been a lot of kind of works in progress and stuff. The week after Proper Woolly, Darren had a week off, so I managed to take a little bit of time because, as I say, it was quite quiet. I'd scheduled myself in for a week's holiday that week, but because it had been a little bit quiet online the first week back from Proper Woolly, I wanted to keep the shop open just to keep sales and things coming through. So I thought I would do that, and then at least I can pack up orders for shipment if that's all I do, but at least I'm kind of visible online and no one thinks I'm on holiday and the sales keep coming and so on. So we took a couple of days, sort of afternoons out, and I'll show you one of those, which was Holden Hill walks, a little bit later on in Patchy Moments, because Patch features quite heavily in the photos, so I thought she would probably be best to introduce that section to you. So we did that, then I came back, and again it was kind of fits and starts online, so I managed to get my accounts done for the year, which was fantastic actually, because normally I don't get to touch my accounts until August just because I don't really have the time for it. So yeah, I spent a week doing that, which was quite nice, and I've got it all sent off. The deadline for self-assessment is October if you have them checked by the tax office, which is something that I like to do just to make sure that my maths is right, you know. And then, you know, the filing actually closes January, I think the 30th or the 29th of 2016, but I always try and get mine in early. I'm sure they'll change that process so that everyone will just be on one date soon, so we'll wait for that to come through. So yeah, was really happy to have got that done, but quite surprised as well because June last year was very busy. Having said that, the weather has been a bit Jekyll and Hyde as well. It's been mostly dry, thankfully, but when we have had sun, either the temperature is really hot for us in the UK that is, so that's probably not hot for the rest of you guys around the world, but we've had this really cold kind of sort of Arctic wind, which has meant that we've kept wearing jumpers and things like that, while, you know, particularly whilst I was walking the dog and things. So yeah, a bit Jekyll and Hyde. So I'm wondering if it's been slow online because people are trying to make the most of the good weather while they can, because you know what it was like last year. We didn't know here in the UK how long the good weather was going to last, when it was coming, you know, and so on. So yeah, a little bit Jekyll and Hyde. So kind of coming out of June and wanting to see the back of it and hoping that July will be better, but at the same time grateful that we've had this fantastic weather, and also grateful that I had opportunity to get some of the things done that I wanted to get done. So that's kind of it, I think. the only other things that happened was when Patch came out of the kennels about a week after she got an eye infection, so we were down the vets, and she's decided that going from being kind of okay at the vets, she now hates the vets. So it's meant investing in a muzzle just in case she nips the vet. And then I guess it was a couple of days ago, she caught a tick, and it must have been while we were walking in the fields. They are apparently rife this year, really high levels of ticks everywhere. So if you are out walking your dog, make sure when you come back you're checking them over, because these little sods, and I apologise, they're bad language, are really hard to get out. Really, really hard. I tried drowning it in soapy water and then drowning it in olive oil. I tried another trick. They said, well, with a gloved hand, you sort of almost wind it around, just lightly rub it each side and twirl your finger around it, and apparently it's supposed to make the tick feel a little bit woozy and dizzy, and sometimes they back out. None of that worked. So I had nothing else to get this tick out with, so it meant going to the vet. And of course, knowing that it was in her notes that she may have to wear a muzzle now, the vet came prepared with a muzzle, and that absolutely set Patch off. I've never seen anything like it. She was really growling and really wasn't happy at all. I tried putting the muzzle on that I bought, which was my fault. I should have tried it a few times at home, I think, but she just wasn't happy, clawing it off, making these real, horrible growling noises that I've never ever heard her make at all. So she obviously felt very threatened and very nervous and upset by the whole thing. So my options were to have her taken out the back and put to sleep so they could remove the tick, or I could try and remove the tick myself. So I was a little bit reluctant to remove the tick myself, but it was the obvious choice. I didn't want to put Patch to sleep just to remove a tick. So we took the muzzle off and sat her down. The vet stood right the other side of the room and just told me, gave me this little, it's like a sort of kind of swizzle stick thing, and it's got, it's kind of forked. So you slide this part around the very head of the tick, so right at the bottom, as close to the skin as possible, and then you pretend this is the tick. You twist this twizzle stick around, and it slowly releases the tick, and you hear this kind of pop, and that's the tick releasing. And it came away sort of fairly easily, so I wish I could have had this twizzle stick at home before, because it would have saved a trip to the vets. And I have to say, God bless my vets, because they didn't charge me for going to see them, because I actually did the work. So I spent some time talking to her about behaviour and so on, because she'd shown a couple of signs where she was maybe behaving how she shouldn't around other people. When she's feeling threatened, she's starting to jump and bark. So I think I'm going to have to maybe take her out and just really watch how she behaves around certain people. The difficulty is it's not around every single person, so it's really hard to spot who she's going for, because who she decides she doesn't like in that moment will be different to the person who she doesn't like the next moment. So it's not as if she's going for everyone who wears a hat or everyone who wears glasses, or a particular age or a particular size of person or look or something like that. She's just randomly, I think it's probably more about whether they're too close to her, whether she feels they're kind of looking at her, and that's a really difficult one to kind of preempt. So I'm going to have to learn to either try and monitor and see these moments that I spot the change, and then turning around and walking in the other direction. I've tried treating with biscuits. Reluctant to try this muzzle, because I think actually the more confined she feels, the more she will react. And I think the way she's reacting, these behavioural issues, are to do with her not feeling comfortable in a situation. So I'm frightened to use things like the muzzle, just in case, you know, that makes her feel worse. It's an anxiety thing, really. Takes up to me. She's probably feeding it from me as well, because what I have noticed, and Darren's noticed as well, is when my hormones are really high, and you know, I said I have a bit of I have a lot of a hormone imbalance from the treatments that I've been through. When my hormones are really high, it's often when I suffer with my own anxiety problems, and it brings on, you know, all my kind of little issues and things that are wrong with me and so on. And I think so she feeds off of that, and those are the days when she behaves worse. So a little bit of a problem in that I'm the only one at home, so I'm going to have to walk her on those days. I can't avoid that. But I'm going to have to maybe on those days try and take her to quiet places, or yeah, I don't know, because I've tried very much to take her to busy situations to see if she'll get used to them, and she's just decided she doesn't like them. And according to the vet, you know, some dogs, particularly collies, where they're, without sounding rude to other dogs, but where they're a bit more intelligent, they become a bit more high maintenance, so they become a little bit more stressed a little quickly. Their issues become kind of bigger issues than they might do in, say, other dogs. So yeah, not a fun patchy moment there, but we're gonna try different bits and pieces. I mean, she's a lovely dog. Obviously, I don't know what she went through before we had her as a stray, so I'm sure she had some frightening moments, but I want to try and reassure her that despite how she might feel in certain situations, if she's with either myself or Darren, that she's safe. The other thing I was going to ask any of you actually is that she's obviously terrified of any noises, like banging noises, fireworks, certain kinds of car engines or bike engines. The guy across the road has got a Harley Davidson and she doesn't like that, it's far too loud. So I saw online that there's a product called Thunder shirts for dogs, and I think you can get them for cats as well, and essentially it works as like a pressure point thing. The vet hasn't had any experience with them, although they say that apparently there is some research to suggest that pressure point relief might reduce some of the reactions to certain things like noises or difficult situations where the dog is particularly anxious. But I wondered if any of you had used a Thunder shirt or one of these pressure point shirts, just to see, you know, what you thought of them and whether you thought it might be worth the investment. They're about, I saw on Amazon they're about £30. Obviously I'll have a look around because Amazon isn't always the cheapest place to shop. But yeah, if you've got any thoughts on that, then drop me a line. You can do that through the website sarahstexturecrafts.com. Any information at all, or if you've got any other kind of dog things that you think I should be looking at in terms of behaviour and that kind of thing, then yeah, just send them on to me. I'd be really appreciative of your help. So that's my kind of time in review. It's been a bit of an odd month. Not the worst month in the world, certainly, but a bit of an odd month. So looking forward to July, I think. So with that said, let's pop on to the next section, which is shop news. Okay, so last time I spoke to you in the shop update, I showed you the speckled dyed yarns and also the new hat pattern beach huts. thank you to everybody who's downloaded that so far and purchased it. Really appreciate that. It's done, you know, quite nicely, so thank you. And also a lot of people purchased the luxury yarn to go with it, which I definitely recommend. It's my base, so you can find it on sarahstexturecrafts.com, and this is the Winterberry colourway. It's very soft and squishy because it has some cashmere in it, so look out for the Luxe sock base, and also get your pattern on Ravelry or the hard copy via the website. The next pattern, which I think I might have showed you a picture of last time, is the Key Shawlette, and this is a new pattern which was released literally a couple of days ago, and showed you some pictures at the beginning there, but as you can see there's elements of eyelet, stockinette, and a little bit of texture with some garter ridges at the end there, and just trying to put it on. It's kind of an asymmetric shawl, so it's not perfectly square, but not tall enough, but you can kind of see it works quite nicely around the neck. You could always work, you know, have a look at the whole pattern and work on just increasing all of the panels. Obviously you'll have to recalculate your stitch count, but you could quite easily use 2 skeins for it. This is a 1 skein project though. The colour is Poseidon, which is a grey overwash on top of these kind of acid greens and blues, which you can kind of see there. The yarn will be available next week in the shop, so if you'd like to get that along with a hard copy, then you can buy that direct from the website. If you would like to get a skein of that and then buy the e-version of the pattern, pop over to Ravelry and the pattern's there. It's called the Key Shawlette, and it was inspired by Exeter Key, and there's a little bit of an explanation there on the pattern page for you, but that's in my standard sock, so it's lovely and squishy, and really nice to work with in terms of stitch definition and so on. So thank you to everybody who bought that. Normally my patterns I sell like 1 or 2, or probably at the most probably sell between 10 and 20 overall. I think I got to 15. When did I release it? Must have been yesterday. Or was it the night before? And I'm at 15 already, which for me is an absolute dream. So thank you. I want to say thank you to who was it now? It was Seashore Sharon. She spotted the silly mistake online too, so don't worry now, everybody has received a new copy of the pattern where I've rectified that mistake. Also double checked everything else while I was there, and I'm sure I'm right, I'm sure that was the only mistake, and I reissued it on Ravelry to everybody, so anybody buying going forward will be buying the correct version of the pattern. So yeah, oopsie. I don't know how I missed it. I read it and read it and read it several times, but there we go. One of those things. It's £2 pattern. If you are buying the e-version, obviously if you're in a country where you're subject to VAT, then you'll be charged VAT on top of that, so I think it works out to, here in the UK, £2.40, and that's purely because of the new VAT laws. So if you want it in hard copy, I can still do that for £2. Obviously there are shipping charges included, so it might be easier to buy it if you're buying something else from me, and then that way the shipping works out cheaper. What else did I do? I started working, because again it was quiet, I started working on a few things that I hadn't kind of expected to get a chance to do. One was a lovely customer I met at Proper Woolly, who had received or had been receiving some wool from a friend of hers, over time, every time she went on holiday. I think it was to the States, or it might have been to Australia, and she wanted to get some more colours, but I think her friend wasn't going to be going as regularly or something like that, so she wondered if it might be something that I might be able to not recreate in the colour offer that she has been getting, but whether it's something I might be able to do on my pick and mix table, because I do curly fleece, scoured fleece and so on. And we looked at the scoured fleece, oh sorry, banging about a bit, dropping things, and actually it's very close to the scoured fleece I do, so I've been working on some new colourways, and this is what scoured fleece looks like. So you're thinking, oh, looks a bit lumpy bumpy. This is basically the process just before they start carding in a mill. So the raw fleece will have gone in and been washed, and then it will be scoured, which means they start to fluff apart the fibres and start to initially move them into a form that will be easily cardable. So I think if you saw the last podcast where I showed you a little bit of a video and kind of photo walkthrough of John Arbon's mill, I showed you the carding machine. I'm pretty sure I did. Anyway, this is the stuff that would go onto the carding machine. Now for you and I, it's a fantastic product all in itself, because I can use this to card bats from and give you lots of lovely textures, so watch out for those, there will be some coming. But we can also use it direct in spinning to give you lots of texture. We can use it in felt making as well, and also in needle felting. So there are a few different colours in this. This is colour grass, so you can see there are variations, and you can buy that on the pick and mix table on the website, and also it shows. So I had fun working on that. It's really nice when a customer comes with an idea of a new product, and it's something that you kind of work on together. It's also particularly nice that she trusted me with the job. So thank you very much for that, really appreciate it, and really enjoyed doing it. As a consequence, this led me on to other things that I might be able to do for the site. Some new things, primarily aimed probably at felt makers, but maybe those who also want to spin art yarn as well. So this is a creative pack, and as you can see, it's this one is colour themed. Most of them will have a colour theme, and you'll have hand dyed, commercially dyed, you'll have lots of different bits and pieces, and they'll be wool and silk based, and they are £7 for 70 grams, and I'll list on there what is available in each one. And I think that's just quite nice to give you a little bit of colour option in your work, so that you can spend more time creating, and I've put together some colours for you. On top of that, I also, because I've got some new straight from the farm tops in, I've worked some breed packs. So again, you'll have a list of what's available in each. And the breed packs are 50 grams and they're £4 each. So you'll get 4 different colours. So it's, as I say, it's, oh no, sorry, you get 5 colours, so 10 grams each. And it's a nice way to sample different breeds for you. Again, you can also use that in felt making, also in needle felting as well, so that's something different. What else was I doing? I've been working hard on some new bat and rolag colourways. Over the last month and a half, I've really noticed an increase in sales on my bats and rolags, and so looking at what I've been doing, it feels a bit stagnant to me. So I'm trying to come up with some new colourways so that I can work in something new for you, so there's a reason to keep coming back and hopefully buying a bit more. Then I've also been working on Colour Club as well. Colour Club will come starting next month. I think it is the 1st of July that I'm going to open that, but I'm going to do a separate video for that. So yes, in a couple of days' time there probably will be another video, and it will be a very short one, but it will be Colour Club focused, and I'll talk you through my ideas. I've been working, I think I'm going to go for a central theme to this one, and so I want to talk you through not only the theme but where to find my ideas so far, or how to send me ideas of your own, because it would be quite nice to give you maybe a period of like 2 weeks to come at me with colour combos or pictures based on that theme of either art or things that have inspired you that you might think would fit my central theme. The next thing I did was, looking at my notes, sorry. Yes, went to Somerset Guild last weekend. I want to say a really, really big thank you to the Somerset Guild for hosting me at their Fleece Day. I also want to thank obviously everybody who bought something. Very appreciative of that. Once again, you know, you guys blow me away with, you know, just being super friendly and also so inspirational as well. So thank you very much for that. I had a really, really nice day out. It was nice to catch up with fellow vendors as well who I haven't seen for a while, and obviously all of the guild members as well. So thank you for that. Really enjoyed it. My next event will be the Devon Guild, which is, I think it's on, I want to say the 10th of July. It's that second Saturday. So yeah, looking forward to that. That should be again a smaller event, but it will be, yeah, in the same vein as the Somerset Guild. So looking forward to that one. And at the end of July, I have Fibre East. Really looking forward to Fibre East. We're staying at a new B&B this year, and the stall has moved as well. I'm going to be in the sports hall again, but I won't be close to the door, stepping out the back. Instead, I'm going to be over next to Louise from Spin City, actually, which will be first time we've been, you know, sort of next to each other at a show. So it'll be quite nice to have a chat, because I've only really spoken to Louise a few times before. So it would be nice to kind of to meet her and say hi and so on. And there are a few new faces as well, which I think are going to be in the sports hall. So yeah, I think it's going to be quite exciting. Then the other thing I worked on, oh, brain's dead. So hot today, honestly. Is, yes, remembered. There's going to be a little bit of crinkling here. If you follow the blog, you will already know about this, and it is mostly related to the blog. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll on to the next section, which is blog news. Okay, so those of you who know my background know that I came from a fashion and textiles background, and whilst I guess I've left that behind and gone down a sort of woolcraft route, which isn't the worst thing in the world. I'm perfectly happy doing what I'm doing, but every so often I get a little bit of a pang, not to go back to fashion as such, but more to product design and things. And I was having one of those days where it was really, really quiet, and I caught up with a few bits and pieces, and I just started, and this happens to me all the time when I have a quiet moment, I start feeling despondent and like, oh God, you know, why aren't people maybe buying that day, or, you know, am I doing something wrong? Or I have these moments, I have these real moments, and because I'm a workaholic as well, self-confessed, I hate sitting still. So I thought, right, actually, do you know what? Today's the day where I'm going to start this thing that I have in mind. So I sat down at the computer and away I went. And I have joined a website. They're called society6.com, and you might have heard of them. It's a site where artists get to put on their work, and they can either sell their work as prints, art prints, posters and things like that, or they can sell them on products. So you can sell them on cushions, bed linen, shower curtains, mugs, t-shirts, leggings, loads of different stuff. And most of what on there is very graphically driven, so it's a bit of a departure from what I was doing in the fashion and textile scene, but something that really quite interests me. And so I'm not expecting this to replace anything that I do, but I've called it Crafts of Texture. So if you go onto Society 6 and search for Crafts of Texture, you should find me there. If you're on the blog craftsоftexture.com, it will be linked in the sidebar and also in the top, and I've done some cushions, iPhone covers and so on and so forth, but I got myself a cushion cover just to try the quality and things, and just to see how one of my designs might look, and it's fully reversible. So this one's called Happy, and it's because I am. And can't you tell? And yeah, I love it actually. It's come out a little bit lighter than my artwork suggested, but I think from what I understand that's quite common with their printing, and I don't think that's a fault in their printing. I think it's because the process of their printing you know, makes things a little bit lighter. So what I need to remember is on my next design to, you know, maybe make those colours a little bit more saturated, and that way if they bleach down just a little bit, go a couple of tones down, it's not going to make too much of a difference. But yeah, the quality of the cushion is quite nice. It's a canvas, and yeah, it's got an invisible zip, and it's nice. So I can't say that I'm going to do loads and loads of this. Like I said, it's one of those things that I'm doing just purely as and when I have time. You know, if I'm going to have quiet moments here and there, and that's the way it's going to be this summer, then who knows, I might be able to make a bit of money doing something else. Or I also had somebody contact me via Twitter asking whether maybe I might consider writing a shawl pattern for them. So that's something else I'm thinking about. I don't know whether it will come to anything, because as I say, it was just a thrown out comment on Twitter. So I don't know, we'll see. But all of those things are quite interesting, and the having gone back to the key shawlette and getting that published actually made me think that, you know, maybe I need to come up with a few more designs. I'm still working on my next ebook as well. So yeah, so I kind of am busy. It's just one of those months where you feel like you're kind of not doing anything right. I'm fine, honestly, I'm fine. I just got to get over myself, that's all. It's easy done, honestly. I'll get there. So the next thing for the blog I wanted to let you know about was the Rustic Rambler hat. This, do you remember a while ago when I launched my Donegal tweed hat, I said that I would write you a free pattern? I've done it. So this is called the Rustic Rambler hat. It's free over on the blog craftsoftexture.com. You can find it under, there's a tab under the banner that I think says free downloads or something like that, and it will be on that page. If not, then if you use the search bar and put Rustic Rambler in there, then this will pop up. You can also find it on Ravelry, which will link back to the blog page. So it's all free on the blog for you, written up and taken care of, and several downloads as well, so thanks very much for that. I hope you enjoy it, and if you want to get your hands on that particular colour of yarn, then it's called Rusty Gate. Can't speak today. It's called Rusty Gate, and this is on my Donegal Aran base. Okay. The other thing I'm working on is a sweater pattern. Now I will talk about this a little bit more as I go through my whips and my finished things, so let's go on to that. first finished thing, which I'm going to show you, is the sweater that I was talking about. So this is my gradient sweater made out of John Arbon Knit by Numbers yarn. All the details are on my Ravelry page, and as I say, I'm going to be making a pattern for you. You'll have seen the pictures, and it does fit really nicely. That doesn't bell over like that when you're wearing it, but it kind of stretches out and you wear it like so, as you've seen in the pictures. So I'm working on that sweater pattern. Now when I say sweater pattern, it's actually more of a sweater recipe. So what I'm doing is I'm giving you directions of how I made this and my swatch details and so on, and then asking you to swatch up in the same yarn and or your relevant DK yarn that you're using, and go from there to create your own bespoke sweater. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I haven't had the time to sit down and grade the pattern, which is something that's also a little bit new to me in terms of knitting, because it's different to how I would grade a woven garment, which is what I used to do for a living. So I want to, obviously make time and get that right. But the way I kind of felt about this one was that we start from the top and work down. I didn't want to decrease and increase a lot on the top for each size. And without knitting every size or having someone knit every size, it's really difficult for me to be able to work out a grade. And also because there are several elements to the pattern which I am asking you to bespoke fit to yourself, it makes it very difficult for me to give you accurate stitch counts, measurements and so on. So it's going to be more of a recipe. So I'm saying to you that it's going to be an intermediate pattern, and it will more than likely be free because it's a recipe as opposed to a full pattern. And that's, as I say, with John Arbon's yarn, and when I come out with a pattern I will link to John Arbon so you can see the colours that I chose, but also choose from his range. So I've finished that. That was a really quick knit and a really enjoyable knit as well. So definitely recommend looking for that when that comes out a little bit later on the blog. The next finish item is some socks for Darren, so I'll show you one. These are made with Regia, and this is the Vermont colourway. So it's a standard vanilla sock pattern, standard heel. Quite nice stripe actually. I thought that was very manly, but could easily be worn with a pair of jeans if you're a girl as well. So quite a nice unisex colour actually. Really like those. Darren's really pleased with them and can't wait for me to finish podcasting so they can actually put them on. So I finished those. What else have I got on my little list? Oh, I finished some spinning as well. So let's show you those first. Well, actually, I'll tell you what, I'll show you these. I can't remember if I showed you last time, they still seem to be up here. This was, we're doing in the join-in bit we're doing, which I'll talk about a bit later, we're doing the May to September shawls still. So this was the wave shawlette that I've already done. Pretty sure I showed you this last time, or maybe the time before, I can't remember. Certainly blogged about it anyway. And then this was my hitchhiker, which was knit out of one of my gradient yarns. The wave shawlette was knit out of my colour silver on my shine base, and then this is a limited edition colourway on my superwash sock base, which is a gradient colour block colour. So I recommend you have a look at those on the website. And this is the hitchhiker. Really pleased with how that came out. Going to enjoy wearing that later in the summer in the evening, I think, because it's quite a nice summery colour. Really pleased with that. And I don't always wear hugely bright colours, so this was quite nice to wear all those mixes of colours together. enjoyed knitting that one as well. It was really, really quick and simple, so definitely recommend The Hitchhiker by Martina Bim if you haven't already knit it. I know I'm certainly not the first on the boat with that one. It's I'm not sure how old the pattern is, but yeah, definitely a very liked pattern, so definitely recommend it if you haven't had a go yet. And then some spinning. So I didn't kind of think, to be honest, that I would have a huge amount of time for the wheel, but then put that down. I kind of did, and I have stuff on the wheel downstairs as well. So first of all I decided that I was going to finish up some odds and ends on my bobbin. So that's it looks like Exmoor Blueface plied against Ryland. So the Exmoor Blueface is dyed turquoise and the Ryland is the grey, and it's just a little mini skein. Not sure what I'll use it for. Use it for something. Even if I just use it as garden string, it'll be nice. It'll be pretty. So there's that one. I don't know yardage on any of these because I haven't got that far in my life, but we'll get there when I need to use it. This back along I spun up, I think it was, how many braids did I have? I had 3 braids. This is my colour Bohemia, and it was on a Shetland base, and these I dyed them up and I had them for sale at Fibre Fest, which must be, what, coming up to 4 years ago now this August? It must be 4 years ago, and that was at Bicton College, and forever they were sat behind me there in a pile waiting to be spun up, and I just didn't get to them ever. So I've already spun up 200 grams and made one big hank, and then this is the last 100 grams. So I'm really pleased with that, love the colours. This is probably a bit of a, what I call a dirty spin by comparison to the other skein, in that I don't think this is spun as well. I spun it a little bit too quickly. I was kind of in need to do something on the wheel, and this was the first thing I came back to after a bit of a break from the wheel, and I think it was probably the wrong thing to do because I spun it too quick and I've got a few burrs here and there and I'm just not pleased with it really. The last thing is 3 skeins of Rolags that I spun up just to show you different types of techniques and things, which probably go into actually on the website. If you've been on the website sarahstexturecrafts.com, you'll see, particularly on the yarn section, I talked a while ago about updating the yarn section with pictures and showing you how things might look knit up and so on, and different techniques. Well, I want to do the same for the bats and rolags, just so that you get an idea of how using one technique they might spin up for you. So this is a tonal colour bat that I've spun up with some sparkle in it, which you can see I've been quite random with it. So I'm going to swatch that up. This is a set of gradient Rolags, and the colour is Riviera, which is actually on the website already, and you can see in the skein it looks like a self-striper. Now because they're Rolags and it's 50 grams, I'm thinking that I won't get huge stripe lengths. I've also spun it as a single to try and see if I can keep as much length to each of those colours as possible, but it'd be interesting to see how that knits up. And then finally I've done a textured spin, which will be from the textured variegated bats and rolags, and you can see I've got all sorts in there. So I've got silky bits in there that give me a few slubs here and there. It's also got some straight from the farm tops in there, so you've got a bit of natural texture feel against Blueface Leicester, so you've also got the shine of the Blueface Leicester on there as well. And yeah, loving how this one came out. This is much more me. I do love that kind of thing, so I'm going to swatch that one up as well. So that's spinning. Then let's see what we've got for whips. What have we got for whips? I'm still working on the cotton blend sweater. I haven't really done anything. I probably knit maybe a line or two of that, and I am kind of disinterested in it at the moment. I think the only reason is because it's now become really quite heavy, and so working on it even for a little while actually makes my hands hurt, and also cotton makes my hands hurt, so I'm finding it a bit difficult. It will get there in the end, but I think this is going to be a slow process, but it's for me, so I don't mind that one. I've also started work on a couple of other projects, and I'm going to have to go run and get them. Before I do, I'm thinking of working on a sweater in future for Darren. I'm thinking I'm probably going to use some straight from the farm tops, which is fine, but I think I might need to variegate the colour ever so slightly, so I'm contemplating on whether I do it as a ply against a dyed top, or whether I create textural bats so it's spun up a bit more like this. I don't know. I just want to give him something for the winter, probably not this winter, it'll probably be for next winter, but oh yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit more when I go and get the next two projects, so just wait there a second. Right, so let me start with this one actually, so I'm not quite ready after all. So how are you? Please tell me how you are while I'm getting this out. Oh really? Well that's great. Oh really? Right, enough of the madness. I've got it, don't worry. I don't know if you remember, probably last year it was, maybe October, November, something like that, I finished spinning about 400 grams of a hand spun, which is a merino and silk hand dyed finger roving, plied against my straight from the farm grey Ryland. So that's it in the ball form. I decided, just out of nowhere, so I'm going to put this down, that I absolutely had to make myself a sweater out of this, because I'd had success with the gradient sweater and I'm enjoying the cotton sweater, although I don't want to knit on it at the moment. I wanted something that was a bit thicker for deeper winter. So I started, and if you're on Instagram you will have seen already, and you will have seen the pictures at the beginning of this section, my hand spun sweater. This is a top-down sweater. The pattern is from an Anne Budd book called Top-Down Sweaters, so you can get that on Amazon. I think there are links to it via Ravelry. You can also find Anne. She's got, I think she's got several groups actually on Ravelry. Buds Buds is the group that I'm in. I think I'm also in one of her sock groups as well. But I found Anne particularly helpful when I knit my socks, my first finished pair of socks. She was the person who really helped me master my sock pattern, not only via her book, but also she actually personally came and wrote me messages and helped me on Ravelry, which was so amazing. So thank you, Anne, for that. I was obviously absolutely stoked that she did this, and so I'm completely swayed to have a look at any of her other books that she's got out. So I purchased the Top Down Sweater recipe book, and yeah, I've started knitting. So far, fits like a dream. Really happy. I would try it on for you, but I'm going to melt in seconds. So it's not going to happen today, but as you can see, this, to get to this point, which I'm literally at the top hip increases, that took me a week to do. Admittedly, the yarn is Aran weight, and I literally only knit in the evenings. I think I knit quite a lot on the Sunday, but that was about it. Yeah, so since last weekend I haven't really touched it, and just because the weather has changed, it's got a little bit warmer, but yeah, as you can see, really happy with it, really happy with it. I'm going to wear this. I didn't do long sleeves, I must confess, because I am quite a hot person, so I think all I'll need in the winter is a long sleeve t-shirt underneath this. But she definitely gives me the confidence in the book that if I want to try different types of sleeves and different top-down recipes, that I could do them no trouble at all. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this so far. I'm really pleased with my yarn as well. If I must admit, this is, for my hand spun, this is, I think, yeah, no, this is the first hand spun sweater I've got, and I couldn't be more thrilled with it, to be honest, so far. So I can't wait to finish it. It won't be too long. I'm just waiting for the weather to cool down just a touch, and then I'll be ready to work on it again. But really nice. I love how hand spun comes out stripy like that. If you do it in a single ply applied against a dark colour, that grey kind of makes it a little bit more subtle, but and wearable, but not too insipid. So really enjoying that. I'm going to pop this down over here. And then I'm going to move on to stash enhancement first before I show you that last project, because I'm going to talk about that when I talk a bit more about the craft along. Okay, so hold on a second. So I thought I was quite thin on the ground in stash enhancement, but it seems I've been a little bit of a greedy pig. Not too much though, I promise. First of all, I managed to keep myself a braid of my Shetland sea cell mix, which is going to be something that I start to use a lot more on the website, and it shows. I'm going to spin this up and enjoy every minute of it just for me. As I said before, it's kind of rare that I keep something for myself, so not sure what this is going to be yet, but I really enjoyed spinning the little swatch that I did of this, so it will be nice to get my hands on a full 100 grams and turn that into something. Second, I want to thank Anne. She's watching. She is called Unique Woolcraft, and she often buys my braids, and what she does is she splits them so that you've got 50 grams of the braid itself, and then she blends on her card of the other 50 grams, so that when you ply both of these together you get a very different look to how you know I would have done just using a standard 2-ply technique. So she gave me this as a gift when I met her at the Sunset Guild, so thank you, Anne. I'm going to enjoy spinning that, and it'll be quite interesting to see how that comes out, and of course to show you. When I was also at the guild, I was placed next to the stall next to a woodworker, which is a bit like me being next to a ceramicist. It can always be quite dangerous. And this guy makes beaded spindles. I've only seen a few people make this kind of thing, and so I thought I might give it a go. I'm used to, I haven't got one around, but I'm used to just normal standard top-wheel spindles. So it seems to spin very fast, so I think the centrifugal force of the beads actually will help it to give it a little bit more momentum, hopefully on the spin, so that'll be quite interesting. I'm not sure how I'll get on with it, but we'll see. I'm going to give that a go. As I said, always dangerous. I bought from him as well. He whittled from a twig a crochet hook, and he had several of them, and so I gave that to my mum because she's the crocheter in the family, but I just couldn't resist getting one. It was just one of those little things that's just kind of nice to have, and at the prices he had, you know, I wasn't going to lose anything by buying one. And then I got my mill membership come through from John Arbon Textiles, so I got my little goodie bag. So I've got my project bag. Then I chose the knitters version, so in there I've got my mill membership card and a couple of badges. I got a catalogue, I got a mini skein of a colour from Knit by Numbers, which is his merino range. It doesn't say on there the percentage. I think it's 100% merino if I remember right, from doing the sweater. But I already know I like it, and this is quite a nice colour. It's not something I would buy probably in a full skein, so it's nice to have it, just a small amount of it. I think there's probably maybe 15 grams, maybe 20 grams if I'm lucky. and that'll be quite nice to add some colour into something. So maybe, you know, a little bit of colour work in a hat or something like that. Actually, that would be really nice, because if you remember right, and I'm going to just open a box here. Oh, I bought this fawny colour from him, so I can tell you. Sorry about that, got cut off there. Obviously went on a little bit too much. But yeah, I was telling you about this yarn, wasn't I? So Knit by Numbers is 100% merino double knit. Get 250 metres. Yeah, so with this little mini skein, and I think this one would be quite a nice hat. So if I did the main body in this and maybe had a white mini skein and then this one, I could do some colour work, and that would look really quite nice, I think. Yeah, I think so. So got that in my little bag. Let's put that back in there. And then I got a limited edition skein, which says a mil limited edition, so I don't know whether he's going to start running this as a line in future or whether it literally has a limited run and won't be repeated. This is it's a 4-ply yarn with 60% Exmoor Blueface and 30% Merino, and then 10% Zwarbles. You get, for 100 grams, you get 335 metres, so it's slightly thicker, I think, than some of the 4-ply yarns that I'm used to, but that's fine. It's certainly enough length to give me a nice shot of colour within sorry, I'll hold up this end because it looks much nicer. It's more of a kind of powdery blue, but you will have seen a picture of it. That's probably a bit more yellowy, but not too dissimilar to the colour. It does have a halo, which you can see there. So I don't know that it will be a next to the skin product, but certainly would make a lovely hat, and it certainly feels soft. Could be really nice and robust in a cardi, because these are longer staples. It might be that you get less pilling, but you kind of maybe have to dehair it under the arms and so on, as opposed to pilling because they are longer staple. They won't, and because they're slightly coarse, they might not ball up as much as say a merino would on its own. It would be quite interesting. Certainly feels nice. I'm really interested to try it. So yeah, really pleased with that. That came through yesterday in its little project bag. So thank you to the guys at John Arbon. I'll link to those and everything else today in the show notes. So that was Stash Enhancement. I'm going to go straight on to Join In. Okay, so for joining in, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the May to September shawls. Really going to have to put my teeth in. So basically I think we've got maybe about 15 people in the group. Some people are more active than others, which is quite nice. It's very easy and very comfortable and friendly, so if you are still interested in joining, then please do. It's over on the Sarah's Texture Crafts group on Ravelry, but as I say, I've knitted a few shawls and I need to finish knitting this one, which will be a future pattern, so I'm not going to show you too much. This is a new in several ways. This is a new colour, and that's, again, I'll show you a picture. But that's slightly off colour there on camera. But what I hope you can see is a sheen to that yarn and a really nice structure. It's quite a loose structure, but it's really nice to knit with. And this is, I'm hoping, well, it's knitting up to be quite a nice new base for me, which will be available in the shop, which has some silk in. So it will give you a little bit more of a kind of decadent look. So that's new yarn, new colour. Won't tell you too much because I'll probably release them all at the same time I release the pattern. This is going to be a sideways shawl, and I can show you about that much. So yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, the colour's really knitting up nicely, and you can see the sheen there on the silk, and loving it. So I mean, obviously I've got a long way to go before I finish it, but now it's a little bit too warm to knit on the sweater. I've finished Aaron's socks. Really only got this on the needles that I'm actively kind of working on, so that and spinning. So I'm hoping, I don't know whether I'll get it finished for next time because obviously I've got the 2 shows, but I'm hoping by September I will have that finished and released within time. So as I say, if you want to join in, come and find us over on the Ravelry group. Everyone's welcome. It can be a shawl that you're already working on, it could be the new pattern that I've just released, the Key Shawlette. It could be something you've had in your whip pile for ages, and you just want to get back to it. You kind of something that you've forgotten about and you want to get back to it. It could be something that you're using for another group as well. So I know a lot of you are probably working on projects for Stash Dash. You could include this in Stash Dash if they don't mind double dipping. I don't know what the rules are for that particular project. I think also the Tour de Fleece should be starting beginning of July. So if you want to spin and then knit a shawl, you can do all of that in my group as well as copying into your Tour de Fleece group. So yeah, come and join. And then the last bit I'm going to put in the video today are Patchy Moments, which is going to be just her little bit of a photo diary and a video just to say hi. So I guess I ought to sign off here and hand over to the one you've all been waiting to see. So I want to wish you well, and I will see you in a couple of days when I release Colour Club. And yeah, I guess I'll love you and leave you. And I hope that you enjoy Patchy Moments. So until next month, dream in fibre, and I'll catch you soon, guys. Cheers.
There's a voice keeps on calling me down the road, that's where I'll always be. Every stop I make, I'll make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on down this road that never seems to end. When new adventure lies just around the bend. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's go-go style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow the whole world is my home. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's go-go style.
Oh, Patch. Too hot, aren't you, baby? Are you going to say hello to everybody? Are you going to say hello? Are you going to give them your paw? Where's your paw? Give me your paw. Give me your paw. Paw. Good girl. You're a good girl, aren't you? Hey, too hot. Too hot, little baby. Okay. Oh. Say goodbye, folks. I'll see you next month.